What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a team of deep research agent within n8n without needing to pay $400 for OpenAI Deep Research 2. It'll involve creating titles as well as content for a deep research report. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so we are in n8n and let's get straight to it. So essentially what we have here is basically a deep research workflow. Consists of a team of different research agents that's able to craft a detailed email report based on a topic within the spreadsheet. So right now, if you go into it, well, you can basically I have a schedule to trigger. So let's say every day, at 7 a.m., it's going to trigger this workflow and do some sort of research when you have some sort of Google Sheets that you can add. So for example, I've basically imported the research topics with a new Google Sheet research topics, and within it, it has included a very specific research topic, which in our case will be construction, the current industry trend in the construction space, right? So that's a very specific topic. So you can imagine if you have a Google Sheet and you have multiple topics that you want research, you can just add on the Google Sheets, and the workflow will be able to loop over all these different items and be able to pass the information, the research topic, to this team of research agents and output a very specific report. So let's actually just kind of give you an idea what it looks like. Let me just actually go ahead and test this workflow. And it might take a while, but you will see the result much better than just me talking. And as you can see, after around probably 4 minutes, it has finished running the entire workflow. Now, normally within the OpenAI Deep Research, it could take up to 30 minutes or even hours of running the deep research agent, right? But with this workflow, of course, it's a little bit simplified, but it takes maximum 5 minutes to write the report. Let's actually see the report. So if you go to the email and you actually refresh, you can see residential construction market 2025, key trends, challenges, and innovations, right? The residential construction market in 2025 is an evolving landscape by changing buying properties, economic conditions, and technological blah, 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 right? So it's got an introduction, and you even have the source of a compound annual growth rate of 7.3%, and you can see the source is from Global Newswire. Yep, that's good. And now, as of 2025, our prices have evolved significantly. Now, I'm not going to over that, and it has another section which is analyzing market dynamics. New construction inventory levels have shown significant changes as of March 2025, blah, 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 right? Exploring the science and construction trends, technological advancement, home building, different source, food trends, recommendations, conclusions, right? So as you can see, it has all the very detailed research report done in 5 minutes with all the citations and quotes done for you. And it's not outputting absolute garbage. I mean, it's probably not the best report if you spend hours and hours in it, but for something running in under 5 minutes, it's pretty good, right? So let me actually kind of explain to you how it works. Is, as you probably know, it's scheduled to trigger, as I mentioned before. You've got a research topic in the Google Sheets, loop over the topics in the Google Sheets, and it passes on to the research leader, whose sole job is to essentially is the research leader to create all the table of contents of a given topic. So the given topic is definitely in the Google Sheets, which is what's the market trend within residential construction space right now. And what it does is going to do a few steps, which is analyze the topic and conduct web research to gather current insights, trends, and expert perspectives. So by running the Perplexity tool, this is using Perplexity, right? To basically have an idea of what the topic even is about, and synthesize just means generate. So generate the information based on core concept, trends, and development. So it based on the research, preliminary research on the Perplexity tool, it's able to have a kind of build upon a foundational knowledge of what the topic even is about. And based on that knowledge, build a table of content, right? So as you probably know, in a report, you need the table of contents to really structure your sections in the report and what each section is about, right? To have a really structured way of doing this report. So this is essentially what it does. And it basically telling the AI to format a response, like topic analysis, key research insights, proposed table of contents, right? You have introduction, you have background, you have the main theme 1, main theme 2, which is, as you can see in the email, is the market dynamics, right, etc. And you have future perspectives and conclusion, which, again, if you look back at the email, you've got analyzing market dynamics, exploring design construction trends, technological advancements, future transfer recommendation, right? This is basically why it produced these headings, is because we tell the AI to structure the table of content, and you've got conclusions. So this is kind of what the research leader is about, right? It's about planning, structuring how the report would look like. When that's done, it then passes on to the project planner, right? So plan the work and delegate it, right? So if we have a look inside of what this actually does, you can see here we're instructing the project planner to write the title, the subtitle, the chapter details, introductions, and image prompt for an SEO-friendly article, right? So basically, based on the topic analysis from the research leader and the table of content structure, we use that as the instructions to give the project planner to basically output the title, the subtitle, the chapter details, introduction, and conclusion, right? So we're asking the AI to basically write the core components, or you would say like the main components, the start and the finish of the report based on the preliminary topic analysis and the proposed table of contents from the research leader, right? And again, it's using the OpenAI model. And afterwards, you just basically use a structured output parser, which means structuring the information in a JSON format. You're basically forcing the AI to pass it into a subtitle, introduction, conclusion. These are all objects, right? Because it's in JSON format. And afterwards, you then delegate to research assistants by using an aggregator, right? So you basically say, hey, okay, based on the title, the subtitle, the introduction, the conclusion, and also the different sections that we already produced, right? Can you then assign each title, right? The introduction, the analyzing market dynamics, exploring design, technological advancement, right? All these are subtitles within the report. Within each section, can you create a prompt for the actual research writer agent, right? So this prompt here will then be passed on to the team of research writers. So it's basically a for loop if you're familiar with programming, but if you don't worry about it. So what it does is it iterates through each title. So we first go through the introduction to resident in the construction landscape. It passes this prompt into the research writer, the research assistant, and asks the research assistant to actually write the content based on the prompt. And once it finished on the introduction, it then moves on to the analyzing market dynamics. Again, it then passes on this prompt, which we've created by the project planner, and passes on this prompt directly to the research assistant to then write the content for analyzing market dynamics. And the whole process repeats until the end, which is future trends and recommendations, right? So it repeats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So it passes on the information, the topic, and the prompt 5 separate times to the research writers, right? So within this research writer, you can actually see what it does if you extend. So it's a very simple prompt: write a chapter for the article, write a chapter title, which is the title, and the prompt, right? You can see here JSON.prompt, which is the prompt being written by the project planner. Make sure to include citations to find your output. So this is where the citations actually happen in the email that you saw. And you have the system message, right? And this is the bigger prompt, which is the guidelines, like how you should act as a research assistant AI agent, right? Just a few things like return to plain text, use HTML, etc. So it's pretty standard way of doing it. So just asking the research assistant to write a quality piece of research material. And of course, it's again using Perplexity. Again, we're calling Perplexity to give the writer more information and more context to actually write the report. Now, because as you can see here, you have 5 items, because there are 5 sections. After the research assistant has written all 5 sections, they are all merged together using this merge within n8n to combine the written content from the editor, from the research assistant writer, because you've got this one big chunk of content for introduction, and you've got another chunk of content for analyzing market dynamics, and so on and so forth. And you've got the content, the title, and the prompt. So what this merge then does is merge all 5 titles, all 5 sections into one report. So into one report, and your final article text is just doing some polishing. Again, don't worry too much. This is literally just some formatting to make it look nice. And then it then calls the editor, which is another tools agent, and is asking the agent to actually edit and produce a polished output. So because the research assistant, what it does is it writes a kind of raw kind of content. So maybe you want to make the language a little bit better, right? So if we actually just look at the system message prompt, this would be more clear in refining and polishing content to make sure it meets the highest quality standards to review and improve. So it's basically a kind of a quality assurance test to make sure there's no writing garbage. 2, to make sure that each sentence is constructed to the highest quality. So make sure the grammar is right, making sure the accuracy is right, making sure it's written in the most concise and the most kind of more beautiful language, right? So this is kind of the polishing agent. Once it's done polishing, the final report is done. It's then sent to the Airtable to create a record. So I've gone ahead and created the Airtable. So you can see you've got the topic, right, and you've got the content. This is the entire text being written here, and you've got the title, and you've got the status, which is done. And that information is then passed on to Gmail account, so which is the email that you saw earlier, to the appropriate person with this entire research report. So hopefully this workflow has given you an idea of how you can think about building research agents within Make.com, within n8n. I've been using too much Make. Within n8n, that you don't have to pay, hopefully, $400 for the research OpenAI a month, and you can build this quite cheaply, right? You're just using the Perplexity API and the OpenAI API. So this is something to think about. Obviously, in terms of quality, it might not be as good. There's some things that you can tweak, right, to make it more refined, etc. But for a 5-minute workflow, I think it's done a pretty good job in terms of actually writing a good or decent research report. So hopefully this helps you out, and I'll see you next time.